So it's April the 9th. It's been a little over a month since I did that first tour of the year. I thought it'd be a good time to get through it. Look at the highlights, look at what's changed. Um, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at where things stand now here at the beginning of April when we're starting to have spring weather most days. Today's a little cooler than most. The pond and the state of the pond right now. As you can see, I got the pump going now. Still some cosmetic work to be done, some cleaning up. I've cleaned up a lot of the dead stuff. We do seem to have a lot of the water celeries coming back. So far, it looks like our horsetails are going to come back. I don't know if you can see that because the water celery's in the way. There you go. There's some horsetails are coming back. I'm not real worried about my water lilies. They should come back. They're plenty deep enough. They have historically come back well. So yeah, I think it's getting going. One thing I did do is I went around and I put in these edging, this edging that I had left over from some other projects where I just bought a whole bunch of edging and cut it up, and I've created these slips where I can then put in some compost. And right now there's like a pollinator seed mix in that will hopefully come back and grow up. I want to see about maybe planting some kind of spiller there along the edge to help cover the lining. Also got some more rock that I still need to get in here and try and cover the lining in places. But the pond's coming along, and most importantly, it's almost impossible to get something like this exactly how I want it, but it's also almost impossible to screw it up for the wildlife. And right now there are at least 4 frogs living in here. I haven't been able to catch them on film, but I know there are 4 of them. So that's good that this is providing the kind of ecosystem we wanted to have. Even if I do maybe want to clean it up a little more. So another project done in the garden is we got the new strawberries in. Totally refreshed the strawberry bed, pulled what was in there out. I think it was covered in plastic last time, and then we pulled that up and weeded it real well, added another 2 or 3 inches of compost, and then we've planted some new strawberries we ordered. These are all the June bearing varieties, so they'll all go around the same time. The ones in the front are supposed to be early June, then we have middle June, then we have late June, because that makes sense. And we got some straw in there, which does a good job of holding in the moisture, and hopefully will keep the weed pressure down. Looks like so far this year, this batch of straw, unlike the batch I got last year, does not have a lot of live grass seed in it. So fingers crossed that is the case. And looking like we're going to have a good strawberry crop this year. Few volunteers are left over in this bed. This one is obviously broccoli. I don't think it's purple sprouting. It might be. You have to see if it grows a little more. So that's come up. My red vein sorrel is coming back here, and the red vein sorrel coming back over in the key hall where we planted it. I love red vein sorrel. It's a great salad leaf crop. It has a tanginess to it, and then it just turns out to be beautiful and sometimes almost unreal the way it looks. Just the way the red veins are. So I'm a real big fan of it. That is probably, we think, maybe a cauliflower. We'll see when it comes back up, but I'm pretty sure that's cauliflower. So going on over here where our trellis where we do our peas and cucumbers. No cucumbers on this side yet. That's all radishes. So that's just a whole collection of different radishes in there that we will be harvesting actually here really soon. Radishes are pretty quick for the most part, at least the varieties that we do. Over on this side, we do have some peas starting there up along the trellis. And I think this again, is this radish? What is this? No, this is turnip. That's what this is. It just occurred to me. There's some turnips planted in front here with the peas. So we'll be looking forward to all that. And then back here is really carrots, radishes, turnips. There are some beets. I was going to say I didn't think there were beets in there, but there are some beets that I'm looking at the label for. Trying to do a better job of labeling things this year. As some of you know, a lot of times Babe selects the varieties and where things go. Not always, but a lot of times. And so I will forget what's where. But yeah, so that's what's going on this bit. And that stuff looks great. We did that about, probably 3 weeks ago. So that's coming along great. Maybe a little bit of weeding needs to happen in here, but I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. So yeah, we're well on the way with our food and veg crop. The other thing I think I showed you this last time is we have this thyme that's coming back. And there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot coming back. Lots of things just popping up. So there's that we have to look forward to as well. So we had a few cold nights. This got hit pretty hard. It was doing great before then, but this is one of our male kiwis. And both the males seem to be doing fine. The others, it's not really worth showing. But I don't think they're dead. They don't look like they're dead. They look like there's some growth, but they haven't done much at all. And we'll see how that goes more throughout the year. And also in our veg crop, as you can see, the asparagus is starting to come up. That started actually last Saturday morning. It came out in the morning and there was asparagus, and we had it in our omelet. So we will be, as the spring goes on, we'll be having more and more asparagus with our meals, probably more than I can eat. So if you know me and you're close to me and you want asparagus, reach out here in the next month or so, because I'll probably have way more asparagus than I can do anything with. So this bag got a good weeding and it needs another one, but you can see there's quite a lot coming back. There are dahlias, there are all kinds of ornamentals in there. I can't for the life of me remember everything in there, but I know there are a lot of dahlias in there. So that's good. Out here, not as much coming back, a little bit. We'll see, it's still a little early for some of this thing is doing great. I need to get in and weed it some. You see those purple leaves and stuff. This is exactly what I bought this for, and I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically a ground cover plant that will kind of reach out and start covering the ground. And that's what it's started to do. It's started to take over this little area and will hopefully take over more of it. So really, really looking forward to how this is going to look. We'll probably add some things in there too, because I know there were some perennials. I know we let them go to seed, but what comes back is kind of, who knows. So we'll see. But this is, everything's coming to life, which is, the great part about this time of year. So it's about 50 degrees outside, and we're here in the greenhouse where it's 100. So that gives you an idea of how hot the greenhouse can get. I think yesterday it was around 40, and I checked the thing. This had not been opened up yet. It was at about 138. So it gets warm in here when the sun's out and get real cold at night. But as you can see, we pretty much, all our top surfaces are covered, and we're getting pretty close to covering all the bottom surfaces. The plants, there are tomatoes out here. Looks like we got peppers over here started in a lot of cases. Some of these are actually our melons. Hopefully we'll get melons this year. We usually don't do so well on melons, but we're trying. We've started them early enough out here that I think we might be good this year. We'll see. More tomatoes, lots of tomatoes. Always more tomatoes than we can plant. We give a lot away. There's some kale. And then there's some flowers, asters and stuff like that. So yeah, bok choy, everything. Anything you think of just about. There's not much we don't grow or try to grow some of. And we start most of our stuff from seeds actually. And almost, I'd say 90% of what we plant out here gets started from seeds. We rarely ever buy starts, especially when it comes to vegetables. Sometimes we'll buy the odd pepper here and there. That's something we haven't heard of. But especially when it comes to vegetables, we almost never buy starts. So yeah, this is the greenhouse. I did a video on that last time. Just kind of like the highlights of building one and what to think about if you want to go watch it. But we get a lot of use out of it, especially this time of year. So this is one of two wine cap mushroom beds we got started. Last time in this spot, we tried to do some almondegarias. I don't know if they ever came up. I had some mushrooms at the end of the year last year, which would have been at 2 years later. That finally came up. That may have been almondegarias, but I wasn't sure, so we didn't eat them. But I set this bed up for wine caps over here. I know it looks quite funny now, but most of the time it's in shade, and as the season goes on, there'll be more shade here. And I'll take you around and show you the other bed real quick. While we're here, you can see the blackberry plants, these two that are back here. are doing okay. The deer get to them where they can, but where they haven't, they seem to be doing pretty good. And the other ones are doing great. I'll show you them as well in just a second. So here's my other bed for wine caps. This one I mulched with straw. There is wood chip under there. I thought I would do that here. One, because I was running out of wood chip, but two, also like part of what happened here last year, they had a really great first year with this. Last spring we got some wine caps. Early in the year, like probably would have been about 2 weeks ago, would have been about a year ago, we got some wine caps. And then it got real hot before the rest of the trees developed their foliage, because this is pretty much in shade all summer long once that happens. And I think it kind of fried the mycelium. They didn't get enough water. So this will hopefully help all that stay cool. They shouldn't reach a critical point where the heat's going to bother them yet, I'm hoping, and that they'll be fine here. But my other hope here is that this tree grows in some more, and I also planted some elephant ears there, and I'm hoping that they grow up and kind of help shade it a little more, and that, you know, it'll last more than a season this time. It won't get fried. I'm going to keep a better eye on it. We may mulch it at the end of the season, just to kind of help protect it from the sun and the heat in the spring. But we'll see. I really do. I don't like mushrooms, and I love wine caps. About the only way you can get wine caps is if you grow them, and they're an easy mushroom to grow. And then these are the other three blackberry bushes, which are doing really well. I've pruned most of the dead off them. Hopefully we'll have another good crop this year. I need to come around and do the shiny tape on that guy. That seemed to work for the birds. Babe thought the birds were eating them. The birds were not eating them. I was eating them. Hopefully there'll be enough that it's not just me out here eating them, that I'll be able to pick some and take in this year. So here in the shade garden, we're starting to see some life. Lots of hostas coming up. Probably about at least a dozen I've seen here lately coming up. It's been weeded a few times. Seeing lots of stuff from last year come back and have new growth, despite their deer prunings at the end of the year. So that's a good thing. Seeing the astilbes are coming back in places. So we're starting to see some life come back into what's here in the shade garden, which is good. Like I said, the deer came in really in the fall. Like I said, I'm seeing lots of hostas come back, which I expected. Lots of the astilbes, like there's a astilbe coming back. We need to come in, probably put another layer of compost down. I also planted some elephant ears in the back, and a few other things in here that should start coming up soon. But yeah, there's life in the shade garden. Doesn't look like we're gonna have to replace everything, thank God. And we'll have to figure something out in the fall to maybe keep them from getting pruned back so hard by the deer. So here we are around the front with the fruit trees. See lots of buds on the apple tree. Lots of blooms on those apples. Like I said, we had a couple really cold nights, which I feel like knocked some blooms off the plums that we'll look at. But so far, the fruit trees, like they do every year, they look a little better than last year. That peach tree, lots of blooms on there. On that one, I don't remember seeing fruit on that one last year. The other one has fruited quite a bit and just not made it. I missed catching these. Like I said, we had a couple cold nights, but these plum trees were really blooming and showing off with a lot of pretty white blooms. But you missed that because I filmed this today instead of like yesterday or 2 days earlier. We'll take a look down here too. This is another, a plum or a pear. I can never remember which one this is. That is the Asian pear. And it's blooming, but our other pear replacement looked like it too died. It was put there to replace one that died before, and I got a feeling that one's dead as well. Not a good spot for them apparently, so maybe we need to figure something else out instead of insisting on putting it in this guild. So this peach tree, which is the one that has borne fruit before, has a good number of flowers on it. And we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully all this gets pollinated. This guy, I don't know, can you see that? You see that? Let's get in there. This is where I was pruning the dappled willow. And in a few places, I, just shaved the end of it and stuck them in the ground because that's what you do with most willows. So I'm assuming it should work with the dappled willow. I've tried to do it in pots and it hasn't worked, so I'm just like, I have to prune that anyway. And I'll just keep shaving them down and sticking them in the ground in places. And if none won't take, then I'll see if I need to do more. But I have plenty of them. I'm in no rush. But this one actually is doing well. I did this about 2, 3 weeks ago. And all the others have lost their foliage. So maybe this one's actually going to survive here. We'll see. And the forsythia is the nice, beautiful yellow it gets to be for about a month before it then looks like crap. But it's pretty in yellow now. And then this is the thing that right now I'm always most proud of is my tulips. This is like where I planted probably about 50. Maybe not. I can't remember. I think it's 50. I have to look. I planted a whole bunch of pastel tulips here. Just like dug up the ground and planted them in front of where most of my other tulips are. And you see we got some coming up here. They come up all at different times. But we got some of those nice apricot ones coming up, which is good. And what's nice is these two, but that one in particular, this guy in particular, I am 99% sure I didn't plant a tulip there. Because my marker has been this tree stump, and it's been on the far left of the tree stump, like so in line with it here, and then over and forward. And that guy's way out of line. So either a squirrel dug it up, or you can see it's definitely related to the one next to it, or my tulips are starting to spread and naturalize. I wouldn't expect it to spread that far, but like I said, I know I didn't plant that tulip, so hopefully that's what's starting to happen, is my tulips are starting to spread in this area. That's kind of the hope. I mean, I will add tulips here every year, and the plan is to mostly plant tulips in pots and then bring them here and plant them here the next year, and I'll show you some of that. But this display is good. My only wish is that it was the whole front yard here where it's on a slope. The soil's a little heavier than they would normally like, but because it's on a slope, it doesn't stay wet. And they seem to have done pretty well here. Like I said, I got lots of them of the other kind to come up as we move through the spring. And then one last thing is these tulips in the pot here that I planted last year. Like I said, these, after they're spent and they die back, will end up getting dug up and put in the yard. And I'm continually taking footage of the tulips to add in, and when there's a particularly good day, it goes up in a short. But yeah, these tulips, I'm really happy with them. They're very different color scheme than what's in the front, so it'll be interesting to see where I'm going to mix them in. But I'm really happy with how they've done. We had to put a lot of, learn this trick watching someone else. As I was cutting up these thorny vines, it's like lay them amongst your tulips. Even before they start coming up to kind of discourage squirrels and other critters from digging them out. So that's what we did there. And then just the keyhole garden, which is starting to do a little bit. You can see red sorrel coming up in multiple places. There's some right there. There's some Dusty Miller coming up. Some of the dahlias are starting to come back, I think. The Persian catnip, Persian blue catnip, is coming back there on the corner. But yeah, the Dusty Miller is coming. Again, there's more of our red vein sorrel that I love to eat and love how it looks. We'll see if some of these other things we put in, that storm cloud is what's there. It looks mostly dead, but we'll see. We'll see if it tries to come back or not. It's supposed to, it should. The reason it shouldn't, and we'll also see how, how some of this lavender and other things do. I know a trip to the nursery is not far in our future. So we'll see. We'll take a good stock here of like what looks like it might come back and what we're just going to cut down and have to replace. But yeah, that's where we're at in the keyhole and where we're at in the garden in general. Like I said, nothing too exciting early April other than the fact that like it's exciting that everything's starting to come up. We got that pop of color with the tulips and be moving forward, and it gets you real excited about what the garden's going to look like later in the year. And the sunlight is now going to blind you. So that's it. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll have even more to show moving forward.